Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Asia Update. Markets move on from last week's rout analysis. http ntvforex.com News ID 09C9698 2023 09:26 am. Markets. S&P 500 E-mini futures have opened up where they left off at the early U.S. holiday session close as the NBSP lack of NBSP cross-asset contagion has put a small bid under equity futures. Traders and investors alike may slowly but surely come around to the idea that last week's market rout was tech sector specific rather than any real change in underlying sentiment. NBSP. There was nothing fundamental behind last week's equity sell-off, but it will most certainly take a while to clear all the option market aftershocks. NBSP. However, the sell-off provides a stark reminder that with everybody clamping down on the same side of the vaccine life raft, it shouldn't be too unexpected that when the seas turn rough, many will fall into the drink on the first significant starboard list. Still, investors have ample flotation thanks to the Fed, and the fiscal harness would allow them to hurry back aboard with relative ease, if they so chose. NBSP traders will be looking for more evidence as to whether investors will continue replacing cash positions with options to reduce risk or jump back into cash. While these are important technical factors amid a market exuberantly rallying on stock split announcements and the market remains short NDX gamma, it doesn't take away from the fact that tech remains very well owned. Concentration risk remains elevated, so we could see more tech sectoral sell-offs on a rotation basis while awaiting news on a possible vaccine. NBSP European equities were stronger Monday. STOXX 600 up 1.7% and FTSE rising 2.4% after a down day in Asia. US markets were closed for a holiday, but Brexit is back with a bang. Brexit IAD hoped we were getting near the end of this saga, but it seems we're back to where we were 6 months ago. NBSP overnight. The EU's chief Brexit negotiator Michel Barnier responded to an FT report that the UK sought to pass a law that could eliminate the legal force of parts of the withdrawal agreement relating to state aid and Northern Ireland customs. Barnier indicated that everything that has been signed in the past must be respected. NBSP. Barnier arrives in London Tuesday. NBSP for a further round of talks. His comments suggest any withdrawal agreement changes would mount a significant obstruction for a trade deal. Separately, over the weekend, UK PM Johnson set a deadline of October 15 to a trade agreement to be reached. If we can't agree by then I do not see that there will be a free trade agreement between us. NBSP. While the base case remains for a deal to be struck, given the non-willingness to back down the government's position argumentative tone since before the summer, the tail risk of no-deal Brexit is high. Forex markets. The euro. As FX continues to follow the coronavirus pandemic track in Europe, the spotlight shines specifically on the ECB's latest monetary policy decision, where verbal intervention concerns remain elevated. During President Lagarde's subsequent press conference, she could heed ECB chief economist Lane's inflation warnings and talk the euro down. NBSP. Still, with Brexit again in the news, EDA's challenging to categorize the euro separately from the discussion. Hence the eurist is likely feeling some knock-on pressure from the pound slide as GBP is under a bit of tension in Asia ahead of the resumption of Brexit negotiations as Barnier arrives in London today. NBSP. And even although the past 72 trading hours have been all about speculators selling eurist to strong hands central banks, mostly in the fear factor from the Nasdaq wipeout was negligible in G10 and EMF, it suggests most of the dominoes have fallen. Still, traders seem reluctant to flip long eurist, AUD or short USD for the adventurous ahead of the ECB as policy uncertainty around the euro remains palatable. NBSP. But FX traders do like the catch-up plays these days, like long JPY and CNH instead of getting back into long EUR. With lots of caution around the ECB meeting, I prefer waiting for a more significant dip in the RSUD back to 1.1600 before scaling back in, although I remain flat on the day. NBSP. Japan PMA's decision to step down marks an end of one of the most extraordinary years for the yen and suggests tail risk skew lower USD JP. The other trade which looks interesting again with the Fed pulling back from the September bazooka is NZD shorts supported by the RBNZ's unabashedly dovish stance. NBSP the yuan NBSP the yuan continues to trade well, but I think there is more to the story than just robust data. Longer-term bullish positions are getting built around the idea that financial openness remains a critical structural theme for China in 2020. At the 2020 China International Financial Forum held on September 6, the Vice Chairman of CSRC, Mr. Fang Xingai, shared China's four-step plan of pursuing further opening up of China's equity market. NBSP expand the scope of investment products. NBSP refine regulations governing opening up policies. Pursue two-way opening up of securities and futures industry. Strengthen collaboration with global financial regulators. NBSP the ambitious plan for RMB bonds and equity markets indicate that China remains passionately committed to financial opening up, and they continue to implement capital market and capital account reforms at an accelerating pace in 2020 to insulate China from U.S. capital market loss, thwarting China's longer-term BNR ambitions. A quicker pace of internationalizing the yuan could be structurally favorable for the yuan into 2021. NBSP the market's exposure to USD CNH seems to have accelerated since the break of 6.90. The short dollar positions seem to be concentrated, though, in the near tenors, and for expiry ahead of the U.S. presidential election risk. NBSP the rupee NBSP similarly, the short USD positioning versus INR seems to have accelerated since a pivot in the RBI's intervention strategy. However, India has crossed Brazil to become the second worst affected country with 4.2 million COVID-19 cases and third worst in COVID-19 deaths, 71,642. So, the recent ambitious INR rally has given way to the COVID-19 gnarly but continues to find carry buyers on sell-off, as it is unlikely that the authorities will be in favor of implementing more stringent lockdown measures. NBSP the ringgit overachieving of late has yielded to general global risk sentiment, a firmer dollar, and tumbling oil prices struggling to pull off the mat in the face of weaker global demand. Gold prices. NBSP I think it is worth reiterating that there has been truly little real money buying of gold over the past 2 weeks, and it feels like the yellow metal is falling out of favor. NBSP fast money types are showing some interest to sell on upticks, and I suspect positioning length could be a further trigger if the downtrend that started this month extends. Indeed, the 6-8% correction at one point last month has a lasting impact. NBSP traders need to be watchful of the bond supply coming to the market this week. With the Fed now in a blackout ahead of next Wednesday's meeting and little data of note until Friday's US CPI print, the focus will be on supply. NBSP the supply slate starts tomorrow with $50 BN of US 3Y followed by $35 BN 10Y on Wednesday and $23 BN 30Y Thursday. I struggle to see USDs performing against this backdrop, and likewise for gold, as new issuances provide yet another obstacle for gold to climb. NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors.